So social media comes with so much information of how we can raise our family, how we should raise our family. And now even questions of, do you really need to get married, right? Because in Australia, you can have a de facto, which is like, you know, not really a legalized marriage, but you can still have the same joint account and all that. So, I mean, do these beliefs from other countries, are they influencing how us as Singaporeans might be raising our families? Carson, what do you think?
I think at least for now, my kids are still quite young.
How old are your children? How many do you have?
Primary 5 and secondary 2.
Yeah.
So all I know is that they're watching a lot of Korean music, you know, listening to a lot of Korean music. So you can call that a foreign influence, you know. They don't enjoy my singing anymore. Right. So I'm at that stage, you know. I can't really say that what people are doing overseas really affects my kids. But what I read and what I hear about what's happening overseas does worry me. Right?
Why does it worry you?
I don't want this to be happening, you know, in Singapore. You know, like elsewhere, you know, people are just living together and then they have kids and then they decide when the kid is 10 years old whether they should get married or not.
Right, understand.
So
it's a different set of beliefs, basically.
So in general, we don't really get that in Singapore.
Do you think that this is a threat to the family institution in Singapore?
Okay, I'll just say personally, I think marriage represents commitment. And when we are unable to enter into marriage officially, it's a sign that we are actually afraid of that commitment and that and what it entails. I think in this case, support from if you're raised and by parents who understand this, I think and they are there to assure the child that we're still here to support you even if you are married. I think that helps to alleviate part of the problem. It's still a trend that's going to grow because this whole concept of it's my life, it's my right. You're not going to be able to fight that too much.
I think I'm understanding what you're saying. So as the couple, we put ourselves as the centerpiece before the idea of everyone else. And and I was reading articles about this, like we have a lot of different styles of marriage now. The long distance marriage, you know, the rising in divorce numbers. I'm a child of a divorced family. So you know, to be completely honest, I never thought marriage worked because I never had anyone to look up to. So in a way, you know, I'm you know what I mean? Like how you weren't taught to be a father, I've never been taught to potentially be someone's wife, you know? And so I'm interested to see how this world of the internet does influence our minds. Do you think it's a threat to our family institution in Singapore?
I would think personally, I feel that way. And I think I echo what Chee Onn is saying. We talked about how, what is it that is causing couples to choose not to make that commitment and how that will affect their family. I mean, there are a lot of other, I guess, legal issues that come with it when you're not in a committed relationship in that sense, in marriage, right? So I definitely feel there is a threat. I think like what you're saying, it goes beyond just a couple's relationship. There are other really practical things that are affected, not just with the children, how you want to raise children as well. So I do believe it's a threat.
What are some other challenges you think that family institutions are facing in Singapore? Carson, would you have any idea?
I was just going to say that, you know, there's this big freedom of speech and also implies freedom of action. You do whatever you want, whenever you want. I don't agree to that. I feel that life has there's a certain sequence you have to follow. Right?
What's the sequence?
Simply put, you know, the socks go on first. Right? Then you put your foot into the shoe, and then you tie your shoelace. If you try to change that sequence and try to make sense of it, your socks could be outside. it's not that you can't walk, you can't survive. It's just not made that way. You know. So same with marriage and commitment. Yeah. So you know, for me, right, at least the marriage comes first.
It's a game of catch up as well. I mean, I have teenagers. I have 3 teenagers. So sometimes, you know, during our generation, our parents know. We feel that our parents know a whole lot more. And now that kind of information knowledge gap is just like, you know, it's not as wide as before. And I find that I'm trying to catch up, finding the new lingo and seeing what's out there, what's on TikTok, what's on. Just as I'm catching up, they're on to the next new thing, right? So I think as parents, there is a sense that I want to connect with my child, and I want to be in the know. I want to know what's your interest, but at the same time, I feel like everything's just moving so fast. So that's this effort as a parent to find out, how can I maintain that kind of connection and understand what's going on in your life.
The speed of information that they have access to. And the lingo and the slang and trying to be... Even with my students today, they were like, oh, don't be so wipey. I was like, hey, what
That's
is
a new one.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah.
No, young punk.
Yeah.
I got it.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm doing pretty well, catching up, keeping up with the trends.
Thanks for the warning. Thanks for the warning.
It's trying to be hip and current with your children, right?
Don't try too hard.
Don't try too hard, right? Chee, I'm also interested to have your perspective on this.
I think that is the truth. The real thing is things are changing so much. They have so much more information in their fingertips, and they have access to them that sometimes we don't even have. So we are not aware of some of these things, and that creates a gap. But I guess for me, then my encouragement for parents is that we need to try and keep up. We don't need to try too hard, but we need to stay in the game.
Yeah.
We cannot just say, I give up, and let them go their way. No, I think we can and always should be constantly upgrading ourselves, equipping ourselves to handle our children better as they grow up. And we need that anyway. Even without the information age, the age-old problem is that we, as parents, we should be growing with our children.
Absolutely.
And not the other way around, that the children forever stays the child to us, and we don't see them as anything else but our child. And that's the dangerous position. So we need to keep growing and to be able to connect better with our child. And that's something I always encourage parents to do.
And just before we had this discussion, I found out you said something quite nice to Carson about do what your child loves to do instead of what the parent loves to do.
Yeah.
And in the end, you did that with your child, right?
Yep, most definitely.
What did you do?
It's more fun to make him happy than for me to make me happy. So Chee Onn actually told my son, and says, a good father is one that does things that the son enjoys or the child enjoys, not what the father enjoys.
Aww.
And then, of course, I was kind of thinking of all the things that we did before, whether he really enjoys cycling or not, whether he enjoys going to the beach, whether he enjoys this and that, all the things that we used to do. Yeah. So, of course, he loves magic.
I'm sure it's a balance, right? You want to impart your knowledge and love to your child, and you also want them to find their way.